So about Konosuba, this has unironically been one of the longest shows I said I was getting around to watching, but never did. At least for the past 5 years, I've been saying I would watch it eventually. And it was one of the first shows I ever put on my list of shows I wanted to get to, but the way I have that list set up, it pretty much got lost in it, because it's more like a pile of shows I throw in random areas to keep note of. I probably have random groups of series I try to keep tabs on in like 10 different areas, so I just end up forgetting Konosuba exists, unless I get reminded by something random. But whenever I do remember it, I'm already watching something else at the moment, so I just push it off as what I'll watch next, but it never ends up happening. Rinse and repeat this dozens of times, and Konosuba has been stuck in my watch list forever. Well, until like half a week ago. If you watched my video about the spring anime season, you would know that I think it's pretty dry. Overall, I mean. A few of the shows I do enjoy. There's only 2 or 3 shows I think are watchable, and then the rest of the series are pretty bad. I don't know if anyone else does this. If you don't, I would recommend trying it. I like to watch those top 10 100 anime anything videos, and then I skim through them. It could be just about the best animes in general, the best openings, anything that keeps it pretty vague. I just skim through it to look for a series I haven't heard about, and I think look interesting. I haven't done this in a minute, since most of the time, they end up being generally the same shows. But I had nothing to watch, so I just tried it again, since I had nothing better to do, which is where I saw Konosuba. I wasn't watching anything, so it was perfect timing that I got reminded about it. Whenever it was mentioned, I heard a lot about it being really good, how it was probably the best isekai, and one of the funniest shows you could watch in general. Basically it being all around the cream of the crop of isekai and anime in general, so I was looking forward to watching it. I was generally excited about it. If an anime is gonna be funny, that alone is enough to make me look forward to watching it. Right now I just finished the first season of Konosuba, and after going through the first 10 episodes of the show, with 10 more to go with the second season, I could say that I was pleasantly disappointed. I started watching it with optimism, but by around episode 5, I could tell people just overhyped it way too much. I won't say it's bad or anything. What people said about it is half true. Konosuba still probably is one of the best isekais to watch. Among the ones I watched myself, I would agree and say it's one of the better ones. But whoever said it was funny, really were trying to make a stretch when they were advocating for it. It's funnier than most animes, but it's not something I would consider funny. It's in like that weird gray area. What makes the comedy somewhat land is mostly because of the voice actors. The voice actors carry hard in this series, I'm not gonna lie. Mostly Aqua's and Kazuma's. Their voice actors are definitely the type that fits for comedic characters, sort of like the voice actor for Gintoki. I don't really follow voice actors, but it's always a plus when I find him in another anime I'm watching. In most of the series I see that guy in, he plays the role of some sort of comedic character. They just have a good way of executing the jokes, but the material the voice actors of Konosuba got was not really the greatest. There were a few moments that had good build-up and execution, but most of it was the generic shit you see in most series. There were probably only 2 moments I could say I sort of laughed at. One was when they were protecting the city from the destroyer, and then we saw the backstory behind the guy who made it. The other was when the guys who were protecting the city got motivated again, because of the Succubus underground service. Those 2 times were jokes I did not see coming, so they ended up being funny, but the rest of the jokes I was half expecting already. With how high the praise was for the series, I was really looking out for what made people like it so much. It fell victim to overhype. If I watched it without hearing so many people saying how great it is, maybe I would have ended up liking it a lot more. The story itself is pretty much your average isekai, but I kept going because I was guessing it was so great because it turned that into comedy. The comedy just isn't that great from what I've seen. Like hearing the darkness gets turned on by anything remotely dangerous joke really died out quickly. Akko was the only female character that was kinda funny. She didn't have the same trope about her being into the ground, which is surprising, because usually women are never funny, in both fiction and non-fiction. I guess relative to most shows, I would say it's funny, but it's not something I would consider a comedy series. I would say the comedy is less than Jobless Reincarnation, which is a more serious anime overall. I mean, besides the beginning, with the weird pedophile-ish comedy, I thought it was pretty funny overall. The voice actor for the MC of Jobless Reincarnation is also the same as Gintoki, so that also helped a lot, but the jokes were all well placed and executed. I'm sort of contemplating the second part now though. I mean, I probably will still finish the series. It's not bad enough that I think I would drop it or anything, but it definitely fell far from what I was expecting. Half of it being from the overhype, and the other half of it just not being anything revolutionary, from what I could see. I would appreciate it more if I just picked it up not knowing anything, but I wouldn't be hyping it up to the level that people do now. That is more or less all I had to say though about Konosuba. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for future content. Peace.